cycles 1, 2, and gets the kill alongside Tufa. Bats forward, but does not have enough damage to get any gems toppled to the ground.
You started seeing this creature of the night is going to be a choice rather than just going for a combo spinner through a wall.
Bora lá, Loud.
Escape, go through walls, especially in a mode like Gym Grab where Mortis has to be a big playmaker. I totally see why teams have started gravitating towards this.
8th gem for Edinho, that makes 9 for Loud. Tempo lead for them, they just need this next gem. It'll be headed the way of Tufa, but it's okay. Loud will get that countdown first, but they cannot afford to lose control. Raidfoot is on his second hypercharge, and he has the super ready. He needs to make a big play. Firecrow and Edinho, Kyodog, they all escape here. 10 gems strong, but they still have to hold on to this zone. It's Tufa with 10 gems at the moment and a hypercharge and super if he needs to get in or out, or to take out an enemy gem carrier. It's a hypercharge now from Firecrow while Raidfoot wrecks havoc on the back lines of Loud.
Crow in perfect positioning, now going to use that hypercharge jump for offense, and Raidfoot cleans up the rest. Red roster, great job towards those end games there. Knowing
Nossa,
that
aí não, Loud.
Gym carrier and let the other two get aggressive.
Salve,
That was
Márcio.
something that Loud didn't have the luxury of. When you have a gym with all of your teammates, you can't really play bodyguard at that point. All of you have to be focusing on your life. You get a little more pensive. You can't push up as much, and I think that's why the red roster on that other end were able to explode towards the end game.
Gym Grab, it's a very tempo-based game. I use this word a lot in Gym Grab because that gym spawns every 7 seconds, okay? And when Mortis respawning is also on a timer, that means that he can afford to dive you and die as he's farming up his hypercharge, his super, and keeping you away from the gym that is rightfully yours because it spawned on your side. That is where Loud is falling apart here. They play this trunk into the Mortis reactively, and he's always on defense. He's not really usually able to get in the back lines like he has now, and he did early game number 1. So if Loud can hold on to this position for an extended period, they're in a much better situation.
Yeah, much better start for Loud in this situation. Now they've got a Sandstorm to give Kyodog a little breathing room. Edinho even feeling aggressive. Does have 4 gems, but as a sharpshooter can still keep that distance, remain at an arm's length, just take care of himself. Firecrow, though, all offense. He's going to be shattering Mortis this entire game. 11,300 HP and a circle of death. It's going to be really tough to win that. Even Born's a gadget just to exhaust through that. Firecrow can just dash away, though. That's one of the benefits of the super.
Raidfoot with 3 bats in a row. That's insane. He'll wrap around Edinho, and this is a terrible matchup for Edinho. Thankfully, Edinho knew to bring the right gadget and blast Raidfoot away. Raidfoot's fine with that, though, because Tufa and, Anubis over here will have the perfect positioning to hold on to these backlines. It is unfortunate, however, Edinho is just churning out damage. And without support, Raidfoot cannot afford to dive in, but he's going to go for it anyway. As soon as Tufa respawns, 1-2 sets of hypercharge bats out, but the second one whiffs. He cannot keep up that momentum.
Firecrow there to escort his teammates towards that 10th gym, and now Loud just focusing on escaping with all the treasure.
Vai, Loud.
For a moment due to the Sandstorm has to back away. Not enough space to maneuver with.
Tá ganho, só tá ganho, pô. Ganhar as outras agora.
In set number 1. 2 very different games. I think
in-game Segura has a completely plausible reason to take game number 3.
Tava atrasado.
More relaxed start here. We're really a little tense, honestly. No big moves just yet. Firecrow's not on the right lane, but it's okay. Kyodog does have the stun. It's going to be a team up with Edinho to try and take down Raidfoot. And it works out over there on the left side. Yuta also gets his first super off. It's a pretty good start for in-game Segura, all things considered.
Felt like both teams were very timid off the start. They were sticking to the grass. I think that's largely because they wanted to see which side was laning where. I imagine that Mortis feels comfortable pushing forward because Trunk is on the other end. Once Trunk revealed himself, that's when Mortis made a move. Right now, though, he doesn't have a choice. Deep in enemy lines, backed away by a gadget. And now just a single Mortis dealing with an entire army of Loud. Still holding on, doesn't get baited to use the super. It almost felt like Firecrow was waiting for it to use it. Really smart from both sides just to lure out the other.
You love the mental game where both of them are pretty much idle, just hoping that that ability is wasted. Not at all, however. And look at how this effective line of scrimmage has moved up for Loud. They're all over mid, but Edinho still has to be careful about Raidfoot. Here come the bats, and the cycle all the way back. He does not want to die here. So he'll have an opportunity to move over to the right side. It leaves his back lines completely exposed. Looks for 1-2 kills. Firecrow is in an excellent position. Raidfoot has left his team for dead, and he misses the bats. Terrible situation.
Raidfoot had a serious opportunity. With Firecrow on the other side, that was the opportunity to pounce. Instead, couldn't get the job done. Just a few missed mechanics, and it will cost them. Against the team like Loud, you simply can't afford mistakes like that.
No, and what you need is something similar to what Pierce is able to offer with his gadget, where he can blast Mortis away once. Usually, that's actually fine for Mortis because he can dash right back in, but it provides him a little bit of buffer time for teammates to respawn, and then for him to be repelled the opposite way. For Trunk, however, he's able to heal, he's able to get in. You cannot ignore him, and he's still a really bad matchup for Mortis. That is why this brawler is typically banned if you know you want to play a Mortis, and I don't think Ningame Segura really wanted to give that away, so they kept it outside of the ban phase.
It felt like this was going to be a really good Trunk game, at least on paper, but I think it was a standout throughout the set as well. It felt like they didn't have a true answer, and I think that's part of the risk of running a 4-5 turn where you're not necessarily equipped to deal with tanks. Right now, it's all aggro and all tank. If you're not prepared for both of them, you're probably setting your team up for failure, especially if you're in the spot that Ningame Segura in. All three of those brawlers, excellent. Frequently show up on this map, but I just think that was a green light special for a tank, and Trunk fit perfectly.
We kind of were teasing the Mortis on the side. Reddy specifically, you said, do you have to pick up the Mortis? He is so good on this map, and yes, he is, but they had the perfect answer to it with the Trunk. 14 kills on Firecrow in the end, the most DPS as well. Really worked out well for them, and as Kenny, as you already said, at the moment it's all tanks, it's aggression, so even if you have that Mortis on your side, you need to be aware of any counter on their end, and it really seemed like Loud left Mortis open with a good reason. They knew exactly how to counter.
Yeah, I'm thoroughly impressed with the gameplay as well. I think Trunk had good matchups, but also the gameplay was just better, I think, towards the end game. Those are the two breakout players.
https://www.twitch.tv/veltonoliver.
I do actually quite like what Ningame Segura showed us in that first game. Let's see if we're gonna see more of that. If
Brawl, deixa eu pegar um café.
Now Willow is gonna be picked up first. One of the best brawlers in the map here, most fun for me at least. But she has many counters to her already.
Yeah, basically anything that gets right on top of her, but she has ways to deal with that as well. It's why I love Willow so much on Brawl Ball, and even in select bounty maps like Layer Cake, because she's a just incredible defender. Despite her being a thrower, it's not really the damage department where she excels, it's that she just has this legendary CC where you're able to mind control your opponent, you're able to get some goals scored off that as well. Cordelius is going to be a similar mindset. You can take an enemy brawler completely out of the equation, really team play focused, and like I mentioned before, you can score a goal off of this.
Goal scoring mechanism, and also Cordelius deals with two things. Anti-tank is one of them, so they're prepping for that, especially with Shelly out of the way, Spike out of the way. Some of these higher damage dealing, or specifically anti-tanks, are now out of the equation. So they're going to take their pick early. I imagine they're going to be running the gadget that allows Cordelius to jump, because this will allow them to pounce on something like a Willow. And now they're going to pair this with aggro. I'm a little surprised Kenji comes in this early in the draft, but it's not a bad brawler. I'm just surprised to see it on a 2-3 turn specifically.
Just as surprised as you, honestly, Kenji. This early, let's see with what Loud will reply now. I do like the Willow. They already have probably the best thrower to deal with anything aggressive, so even against the Cordelius and Kenji, she should be fine with a good gadget and a well-timed super. Now second pick from Loud. Otis could now go to the side of them, still left open. One of the most picked bowlers also in Lost Awakens rendition. And Pierce is going to be the brawler they play in mid. And on a map like Super Reach, you can super shot almost from the middle line into the opponent's goal. It's always good to have a solid mid that hits a lot of shots.
They will own mid. It will be all theirs. They'll have some walls broken open on one side if they so desire. That's what Stu's going to be doing, is breaking through some of those walls. Now, Willow still does need her side of the map, so that'll be left intact. It'll all work out. You got indestructibles to play around as well. Now, what I'm especially looking at is the absence of Mortis over here. I think it was pretty clear that this could be countered quite easily. It was countered previously. And then I guess Mina's waiting in the wings. You can speak your truth, son.
Oh, it's Mina. Charlie is going to be the last pick brawler here. Also very good in mid, and they didn't really have anything for that just yet.
So Charlie made a lot of sense to me because they needed a mid, but also the spiders are going to be a way to not only deal with Pierce, but also Stu. I think they were almost forced into this just in the sense that Mina's a great brawler, but Charlie on paper at least makes too much sense. The Cocoon going to be powerful, but also the extra hatchlings just necessary in this matchup, I think.
We're gonna kick some footballs into nets now. Super Beach is gonna be our second match. Can Loud extend their lead, or can Ningame Segura, after taking a game in Hard Rock Mine, now also take a set?
I gotta say, not as convinced on this draft from Ningame Segura as I was on the last one. I thought that Mortis was going to go absolutely nuts, but the team play from Loud was on point. Now, it looks like Loud, to me at least, got the exact draft that they wanted. They had Kyodog on one of his most comfortable brawlers. Stu absolutely owns this map. He's already tearing things up for Fire Pro, getting rid of the most powerful position for Rate of Foot, which is around that obstacle on the right side. Edinho, of course, is a dead man. As soon as he comes out of the dive, should be a kill for Kyodog if he can hit that shot into Rate of Foot. Rate of Foot very narrowly escaped with a super and got a little damage on a Fire Pro, but still has to retreat.
Cornelius in positioning, though, has to rely on these walls because if this map opens up, sure, Willow's also going to struggle, but you're basically removing Cornelius from the equation. Stu just having his way right now on the right-hand side. Edinho with a takedown that should give Loud positions. They have to deal with these fighters, but in the meantime, Tufa is just going to be playing bodyguard against that ball. Has his super in hand, so nobody can really force it. Now it's actually him dribbling, moving down this left hand, and they have to be careful. Nice tiptoeing out of Kyodog to stay alive there.
Loud, they've fallen so much on the back foot. It's difficult for Edinho to execute over here. What a dodge there from Loud. They both backed into the goal, but Anubis is still able to walk that in nice and easy. Slimy, it left that little trail of goo on the ground that they couldn't walk across. And that provided the opportunity for Ningame Segura to get this one in. They have owned mid in spite of everything that Loud is bringing to the table. They're just gradually getting moved back, and Edinho's not in front of the goal when it needed to be. Easy slot in for the king of football himself.
Underdogs for sure, but they are putting up a fight. Even set number 1, game 1, taking a win there. Putting up a solid showing, I would say, the rest of the way, but this is an early start. I mean, a commanding lead in Brawl Ball, 2 straight goals out of them, even Kenji able to slide one in the net there. I mean, you wouldn't know it based on this. If this was your first day ever in Brawl Stars, if you're just joining us in 2026, rest assured, Loud are favorites in this situation, but Ningame Segura here to play.
Different lane layout here. Edinho's going to be playing on the right side this time against Rate of Foot, and I think Kyodog did a pretty good job versus him. Edinho is going to survive that interaction, and Kyodog diffs the left side, so it's all good and well for Loud. They had that mid control. Edinho's now going to take this matchup versus Tooth on the right side. It's one that he got in the last game, but was a kind of stalemate. We'll see Rate of Foot mind control. Little pass over to Kyodog, who just got his super. It's beautiful from Kyodog to put one on the board for Loud.
That was a crazy interaction with Shadow Realm going down, mind control still active, but nonetheless, Kyodog amidst all the chaos, able to slide one into net. Now Rate of Foot on this right-hand side. He working against the Willow Cortelius. What a gas pedal. Look at this, a nice dive and puts one in the back as well. Off the likes of a Loud goal, an immediate answer coming out of Ningame Segura.
Return fire as soon as it looked like Loud found their footing. They have the same lane layout as they did at the beginning of the game. Fire Pro's stuck in the realm. It means that they have a lot less defense. Going to be some pretty serious damage for Rate of Foot. Ball cleared over towards the right side. Should be easy to stuff everyone into this goal, but their respawns are not staggered. Got to get it done now. Some Maturino pins in the air, and a set here and gone from Ningame Segura just like that.
O Tufa tá travada lá
I
na
mean, that
live
was
dele.
fast. It just felt like in the mid especially, Pierce was overwhelmed. When the spawner started attacking him, as long as Charlie goes even off the early game and one of the other 2 lanes wins, something like a Kenji now with a lot of health points can press him to his face. If Cornelius showed no signs of stopping. I mean, he was aggressive the whole way through. Typically that's an anti-tank brawler, but with no tanks on the other side, had to find a way to get worth.
I really like the Charlie pick to end their composition with here. Ningame Segura picked the perfect brawler to overwhelm not only the Pierce but also the Stu. I love me a good Stu game. I love the brawler, but even KO Dog, even someone who is playing this brawler on every single method mode, can really do much here. Ningame Segura, I really liked what I saw, and I don't want to say. I'm going to say it anyways. I called it, but after they got the game in Hard Rock Mine, they also now got a set.
Well, I'll tell you what I didn't call was this draft working out so well as it did. I was a little less convinced, but that was just me being a little restrictive on my thinking. I did not expect Cornelius to operate in this manner. You see he's got 5 kills. You know what, KD? That's pretty cool. I'm really looking at the team play aspect of this because reliably he was getting his super just off of waiting behind an obstacle. Then when he had the super, nullify the enemy mid. Get Fire Pro out of there. He is the Pierce. He is the power player. He is the mid control. And then pressure. Crunch to everyone else in. The 2v2 was won beyond that point. Big thumbs up for me on the team play. Well done, Ningame Segura. You convinced me.
We also saw Tufa from time to time on the camera. I feel like he's really doing his best at tying everyone together. As we talked about, he's playing with 2 experienced players, but not as experienced as everybody else on the field right now.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really good showing from draft to gameplay. And again, in set 1, they had a solid showing. That was making light work of Loud. Collapsing the mid, multiple goals. I mean, just outpacing them all around. That's not the Loud that I've known and grown to love over the past couple of years in this region. And now it's all of a sudden 1-1. I think if Loud go down 1-2, that can shake your confidence a little bit throughout the day. I mean, you have to find a way to make the easy wins easy, and that's something that we're not really seeing out aloud right now. If you want to be a top dog in your region, you have to be a presence. You have to be better than these other teams. And I'd say that Nick and Segura aren't respected. They are. But I don't think their expectation is nearly as high as Loud. Loud with everything to lose right now.
Heading into drop now for Golden Gold fans are in already. Mina's going to be out of the way as well as Tick and Spike, Angelo, Dean, and Pierce. Now not on the board anymore. Brock is going to be picked up first. An unusual choice at the moment. Brock isn't exactly the best in the meta. Got no breakouts in the map, so if they want to come in with some more long-range options, no throwers, I think Brock is going to do just fine.
No throwers, no like buster, no ollie, stuff that hides behind an obstacle for the entire time and then decides to pop their supers and hypercharges that they got for free right at the end. They are not trying to get cheesed out here. There are other ways to break open walls that I guess they were just not really interested in. This is a way of exerting control over the draft because I think that they've been caught a bit off guard in the past couple of sets. They managed to pull through in set number 1. Set number 2, obviously that's in recent memory, did not go their way at all. They're, I think, trying to throw in-game Segura off balance just a little bit and then lead with their instincts on the rest of the draft.
Last weekend, Brock was even to the point where he was getting banned regularly on this map, and I think it's because of a lot of the reason that you just mentioned, because of that wall break control. There's not a lot of natural fits on a map like this to have that possession. Somebody like Griff can't show up, but are you really going to run a Griff on gold arm golds compared to these other sharpshooters, the Pierces in the world running around the game? Love the choice of RT in general on this map. Somebody that can drop the static when they need to towards those in-games, have that Jackie S super, so you can be really aggressive if necessary, and if not, just sit back, relax, be a sharpshooter like the rest of your team.
RT super good in early and late game. Let's see what Loud brings, because so far they only have something for early game. Brock is going to do better when their opponents are at full max range. Gus is going to come in, very good pick here. I feel also very solid in the late game once he has his shield up, and he could potentially shield any aggression that they might still want to show here. Rico is going to be the last pick. Rico is the most picked roller on the map. I had him on my radar, but I felt like if they want to open up the map, Rico's usually not the next pick you want to go with.
No, not really. And it's painting the picture of, look, they want to have those walls. They'll have the option. Rico's shots are so many options. Gray is the direction that they're heading. Break open some of those walls, teleport onto someone if they so desire.
Arroba bombardeiro estratégico, cara sorrindo, cara sorrindo, cara sorrindo, cara
I'm a
sorrindo.
bit mystified on how all of this
Boa.
coalesces from in-game Segura because this draft doesn't really tell me a story.
I actually was about to say maybe they picked a Grey just to open up the map in case Brock doesn't want to do it now because of the Rico. So they have to have a break option themselves. Heading into map number 3, it could be the time where Nick Segura, our underdog here, takes the lead.
I could also see Gray, the TP being a huge feature, because one thing that does stand out to me about Loud, outside of a Coyote Dog super that can give you a bubble, fairly squishy. 6,900 HP on the right, especially for Firecrow as well. And if you get a Walking Cane, a couple taps like that, it can get real scary. Now, if you've got a Walking Cane plus a teleport, death sentence for any of these Loud brawlers.
In-game Segura immediately beamed on the right side. Another shot from Firecrow sends Anubis down. It's just Ray to Foot, who's going to be treated like a big old super battery. Away for Firecrow, Kayodog, Adinho, whoever wants to just charge their super. They'll let him heal up a little bit if they decide to do so. Nope, just intent on finishing this one off early. The RT hypercharge is a huge concern, but it looks like this one might even be over quite quickly. It would definitely be Loud's desire to end this one in 2 rounds, so they would switch up also the lane layouts. Then, of course, being in-game Segura, Firecrow forced to jump back. That shows you just what they think of wall break if they're switching up things like that on the broadcast.
We saw what Adinho could do with the super in the last round, and he's got another one charged up. Oh, Gray, just a misstep, and now lets loose on the top right-hand side. Adinho cleans things up. Wow, we saw a speed run in game 2. That was breaking pace here entering set 3 from Loud. A great response and kind of answered the call out of me. I was really pleading for them. If you want to be a top team in this region, you have to make it look that way. And they just immediately dominated. That was some crazy stuff.
Also shows off one of the beautiful things about draft is that you can change your gadget, your star power after the fact if you want in final preparation. So Brock is a more flexible brawler. You can decide to lead with the wall break, which is a typical mentality, or you can decide to jump away when you know that wall break isn't really going to help you at all. Him being picked as a first pick and totally pivoting on strategy is just wonderful from Loud. And they've got exactly what they want. Adinho is shutting down this right side. Bell in the range matchup just it's really no contest. Adinho's able to fan out his shot so wide as well that Tufa's not able to dodge it so well, and Adinho's always a question mark inside the bushes on the right side. Already gotten a super, and back at Nubis onto the right side. Kaio Dog also gets that kill on the rate of foot on the left side. It's looking a total shutout for Loud.
Loud are just tapping right now. It doesn't feel like Ingrim Segura can hit a shot. Now the fog closing in, there's nowhere to go. They have 2 avenues of exits, and Loud are covering all sides. Kyodog with a few shots in. Maybe they get a little bit of gray supercharge, but outside of that, it's going to be the blue side with a couple supers in the backhand pocket. Ingrim Segura willing to try anything at this point. It's a full engagement on this left-hand side. Fairly untraditional, I would say, for a map like this.
Well, they've exhausted all the traditional options is what it looks like. They tried to split it all 3 brawlers on the right side. They tried to do 2 in 1. Now they're just committing on the opposite side. Hopefully they can take down Firecrow, but now they've left a wide open avenue for Adinho, and the window of opportunity has now closed. They had to face all 3 brawlers. That's the pull on Kyodog, and despite his best efforts, Anubis is not able to capitalize on it. Didn't even get a super from this last game. Right foot throwing in the towel as well, and that's curtains. It's a
Essa é a Loud.
Loud.
Esquece.
One set away from victory. They have really tightened up the reins
Olha,
for this
jogaram
match. They had
fundo.
absolute control.
Polarizing opposites of sets right there. This time it's Loud dominating, and it felt like they were hitting every shot they were taking. I think I saw one maybe misstep on a Rico super in that final round, but you see it on Firecrow's face. Completely calm, unfazed, and it shows. I mean, this was unbelievable. One thing I will say, that Gray last pick did not come through enough for me. It felt like they were landing the walking canes, but there was no follow-up, no
Caraca,
execution
mano,
in
que
the
calor que tá
onset.
aqui.
I feel like if you're going to pick this Gray, especially when you're not maybe enabling a tank or you're trying to get in the enemy's faces, you got to make those gadgets count. I mean, Loud are entirely playing around that, and the one superpower that the red roster had just did not come through. Donuts all around, just a lot of breakfast on the right-hand side.
Let's go with the next graphic. This looks sad, honestly. Yeah, Rico really worked out, even though we
South
question if
America.
Rico does fit in a comp that wants to break open the map. I really wonder, Kenny, and I completely agree with you that the walking cane didn't really come through. Was that even the right pick of gadget? The other gadget would have opened up the map quite quickly, and I think the RT and Debel would have done better than against the Rico specifically.
Yeah, very well may, and we didn't really see those side grassy lanes really get opened up at all. The only time we really saw it was when Brock would drop a super, and so Rico could just kind of get sneaky, use those bounce shots to his advantage. I mean, every single Loud player, I don't feel like this is often they say it, but they were kind of all standouts because they were the only team with kills. I mean, everybody really doing their part, playing completely different brawlers as well. Thoroughly impressed. That's more what I'm used to seeing compared to what Set 2 was.
Just didn't look like Ninging Segura knew what to do really at all. They see the Brock first pick and they go, huh? Okay, well, let's go back to old reliable. And it didn't work out at all. Loud, they're bringing fresh things, even in what should be their easiest match of the day. It's now on to our next map. First pick of Spike. Good old-fashioned Buffy Stars out here. It's been banned so consistently. Now it's being given to them by Ningame Segura. When you're doing that, generally it means that you have a plan. I think, though, they just had to get rid of the better options that they had over here. Look at Poco, Mortis, Mina, all top brawlers to play right now, all top fans as well. So it could also just be a matter of prioritization rather than bait.
Pierce is going to be the first pick here. Very well done as he slipped through the ban stage once more, and Loud picked him up so far every single time he was left open. You talk about Buffy's, I see Frank is left open as well. Could very well be picked here. Poco unfortunately out of the way, so potentially Spike is going to be a bit too much damage against the Frank, and they're going to look into a bit more, that's a conservative pick here. Crow would still be left open. Lou, always a good shout on the hot zone. Finks, Ham, all rollers that we could see here.
Finks is one that's, yeah, there we go. I was going to say, Finks is one that surprised me that he hadn't shown up in this point, especially when watching North America. A lot of the times, just based on the bans, right, after the fact, it's usually a choice of do I want Finks or do I want Poco? In this case, Poco in the ban phase. We get Pierce, who's a long-range sharpshooter. I just feel like Pierce is at such a good point as an individual brawler that it's hard for me as a team to justify passing up on him. But seeing this on a 2-3 turn, the one thing I will say about Finks compared to other bids on this map is he's pretty decent at handling aggression. And I think that's important, especially when you're in that earlier onset of the draft. You have to be ready for that. So somebody like Ali, now you've got a TP mechanism at least to deal with that, which is something that covers for Pierce.
Yeah, you got the TP. You also get 3 extra shots. Assuming that you were, smart about your ammo use and the timing of your teleport with the gadget, should be able to deal decently well into Ali, but Ali can bait you really, really effectively. She's got plenty of water and bushes to work with here, and that changes her attack to a jump where she becomes invulnerable for the duration of the attack, even though it is pretty quick. Now, if you want to point fingers at a reason that Juju is not played so much anymore, here you go. She's jumping all over the place. Pam, super, super strong here. Could play reactively into this, but they've already committed with the Pier, so I don't think they're going to be going something like a bell.
I do like the Pam, especially together with the Ali, can heal her up quite a bit whenever Ali comes back to recharge. Now on the other side, we have two long-range brawlers, two snipers with not that big of a health pool. Maybe some heals would be good for them as well. Or Lou, potentially kind of still waiting for that one. Lou's super good against aggression. He's also kind of good against Pam to just destroy that turret. Or Frank to open up the map despite them having a spike. I guess you can always pick buffy bowlers, even if you have some counters against you.
No, I think, generally speaking here, Frank, look, he's a tank, but as far as hits go, he's got the most range. And then also, he's got even longer range with an aimable gadget now that sucks people in. It's absolutely ridiculous. Why do we have this? But I digress. It should be a fairly strong selection here. Even into some tank counters, it'll be very sturdy against Ali specifically. If he sticks around the point just for survival, I think that's where we should generally expect him to be, but should also be a neat tool for dealing with Ali if she gets too deep in the backlines.
Firecrow going to start this off by dishing out a life plant, giving themselves a little space to work with, but to somebody like Frank, it's not going to be enough. Ali, though, on that top side. Oh, and a double takedown there. Excellent team play. Now going to leave Radafoot by himself, completes the team wipe, and Loud will own the middle point. That's what the objective's all about. Just getting control of the map early and making it tough to march up, especially for something like a sharpshooter and Frank, who's a walking super feeder. This could be rather difficult if Anubis isn't careful.
Easy walk up for Anubis, an attempt at taking down Kyodog. He'll eventually get it when Kyodog runs out of ammo. It would have been wise for Kyodog to just get out of there, hightail it away from the water, but he decided to stick around for the fight. At least he's earned his super along the way. It's an easy takedown onto Radafoot. Tufa also most vulnerable brawler on this map to close range, but he has the better reload speed over Ali. That's pretty easy, however. And we'll see in-game Segura lose that control of mid. Loud are all up in it. They have that hypercharged Pam turret down, and they're looking healthy.
Firecrow flexing. Two hypercharged supers going down while he had it activated, but Frank now on the prowl. Left-hand side tears open the entire side of that map, and will no longer be able to rely on that. Importantly for Pam turrets, they're just going to have to throw it in the open. This is going to allow the red roster to focus that down.
Firecrow still trying to stay alive here, and that is when it can get you when you're not respecting the range matchup versus Frank. He has so much range with that gadget, it's even enough to take down a tank counter like Spike. Spike has been taught that lesson. Now, in game number 1, we'll see if Firecrow gives him a bit more respect on the range matchup. Kyodog also trying to be crafty in his matchup versus Anubis. We'll see a pretty aggressive Spike super down. Loud will be allowed to continue moving up here. Firecrow, of course, keeping the range, knows that Anubis has that gadget back. There's not going to be enough time for him to use it now. Kyodog has all the pressure in the world. The positioning is there, and Loud advance on to match point.
Beautifully done. Just playing the game mode to perfection, not overdoing it. At times when the enemy team got space, they were able to regroup, not stagger their spawns. I think that's a problem sometimes you can see, even at a professional level. So I think the comms crystal clear. You can see it there, all of them, of course, in the same room. Wherever Loud headquarters is, I'm sure things are going well. And now one game away from advancing to a stage that they made many times back in 2025, trying to start the new year off just right.
For everyone watching, this is the South American Monthly Finals, and for Loud, this is just another Saturday. This is pretty much what they do, another semifinal, another dollar in their bank account. Loud, they quickly sweep up 2 brawlers from in-game Segura, and they're on the point once more. Not a single percentage earned by in-game Segura so far, despite the best efforts of Anubis on the left side to take down Kyodog. It's going to be one eliminated. Firecrow bites the dust. He's back to the respawn, and this is the opportunity for in-game Segura to secure something.
Really good comeback. I feel like Ali's really starting to show her worth as well. You wouldn't think much of those little L-shaped waters right there, but it is a lot more ground to cover that she is the only one on the map currently who has access to. A dash in, out. Little swipe. Now Tufa. Next up on the menu, goes for a double as well. Frank, though, with so many health points, is able just to remain firm in the mid, gain as much as possible, but Loud's still well in the driver's seat.
That is what happens when you have high HP in your attack, and as Frank, you are an idle target for Firecrow to charge his super off of. Get a couple in a row off the hypercharge. Loud are running the show right now, counting up to 70%. And in-game Sakura's percentage pales in comparison so far, despite the best efforts of Anubis. Moving up with that hypercharge, he'll be rewarded for his efforts on the right side. Can't escape the nuts and bolts of Edinho. In-game Segura, the remainder of the roster, advances forward to attempt to secure this point, but it's just no good. The constant pressure of Kyodog is a huge thorn in their side.
Now Loud with a PAM healing station on the ground. Frank, the last bastion of defense, but all three members standing tall, repping some exclusive sprays. It's similar to 2025. Loud kickoff 2026, excelling. Solid fight out of in-game Segura, but they're underdogs for a reason. Loud are making noise early on our new season.
Gotta say, though, I was amazed by what they were able to offer draft-wise in set number 2 on Brawl Ball. That
Botaram na
really
chapa,
loved
rapaz.
the way that they played Cordelia's. And look, if you're looking at this, if you're a high-level player saying, okay, well, I could have seen that a mile away, then why didn't Loud see it? Right? How did they not see this coming? So I think, well and truly, in-game Segura outsmarted Loud in set number 2. That is a high bar to clear, and I gotta give them a pat on the back for that. I was ready to give them accolades for even taking a game. They did it several times. They took an entire set. Well done, in-game Segura, even though they didn't advance on to the semifinals.
For sure, and the expectations against a team like this, I mean, I think a lot of people at home have a similar kind of task that I would give Loud to. It's make #1 seed once again. I think World Finals minimum, especially when you go top 5th through 8th with a team last year, one of the best results South America's seen in a long time, and you run it back for a 3rd straight year. Ningguim Segura hold those heads high. They definitely went a set further than I thought they would go, but Loud, this is just another stepping stone. It's a long journey ahead if they want to take a grand finals.
I sure hope they hold their heads high. It was very promising what they showed us here today. I really feel like this one comes down to draft. That Frank last pick, we weren't really a fan of it, and he was more just a star power, a super feeding station for anyone on the other side. Kyodog on the other side with 18 kills on Ellie. If you pick up 2 long-range snipers, basically no health, Ellie's gonna do so well. So yeah, that draft, they kind of should have seen it coming.
No health? How about no help? I mean, there was really nothing to deal with the alley. You have Frank, but look, the alley's too evasive. He has a whole windup on his attack. If he's playing in the backlines, he's probably on full HP from not being out in the open to get the, quicker attack, faster reload speed. So, yeah, just not really what the doctor ordered. Was pretty surprised to see him getting Spike just once because I know that Loud know that matchup. But at some point, you know you're going to win the match. You have the outdraft. You're pressing the buttons. You know that you're going to the semis.
So what would have been the solution there? Otis, Cordelius, something like that?
I think the solution is to ban Alley.
And leave potential other threats open. I think they banned Mortis. Do you leave that open? And it's not really help either. We want to have a look at just how that quarterfinal #1 went down at 3-1 overall. So Loud takes this one, moves on into the semifinals, and is now waiting for their opponent ready. Is it going to be Olympus Blood or Eternal?
Olympus Squad will be a really fun one to watch. This is A7 of last year, and Eternal are no slouches either. To see a team like this with roster members that are on that lower side of the bracket emerging through that, have a little bit of trouble, makes things interesting. Pedro was the only one on the desk brave enough to take Eternal. I don't think it's too crazy. I know this quarterfinal 4 is going to be close. I feel that way in my gut. But quarterfinal 2, I think, is really fun. Should be an interesting one, to say the least.
Joining us on the desk now is someone who knows the game from inside out. Coach Pedro bringing the strategic minds behind the players. How have you enjoyed the show so far?
A lot. I mean, it's insane to be here, and it's a different perspective to watch the games, and it's really fun.
We're going to lean heavily on his strategic mind, the analyst brain behind every single play from the players, and maybe we get some insight from you as well. Why, for example, did they pick Frank?
I mean, it's depending on the situation, but it's really good to see a region like SA, right? They are really aggressive. It's completely different than what we can expect from EMEA. It's true that lately these two meta are coming close together a bit more, but remember back then where they meta was completely different, so it's good to learn.
You're respected by the entire scene. How did you do last weekend again?
Okay.
Sorry, what?
Okay, you know what? He's my teammate now. You can't talk to him like that. I'm going to cover for you. Let me take this one for you. You can't talk to him.
I'm literally supposed to say that. I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean, yeah, we try our best. It was not the best start of the year we expected, but we have been there. We know what it means to represent the SK, and we will be back on top.
We believe in you, Pedro. Also here at the casting desk, super excited to have you here. And yeah, you seem very, very confident, so I'm glad to see that. We're heading into quarterfinal number 2 now, and I do want to point out here, Pedro, you were the only one to pick Eternal. It's Olympus Squad versus Eternal Esports.
Yeah, I think I here I will trust the experience that some players have, right? We have players like MOHTEP, like the Jubilee, but these players that have been on top already know what it means, and especially they came all together because they kind of got dropped from teams before, right? Jubileo from what is now SK Kalala's roster, right? Mid-season, now MOHTEP recently. So I think that also gives you the energy to prove that even if when you get dropped, that you prove that you are good enough.
Yeah, on the left side, Olympus Squad are a good team. I think the second half of last year was a team that I grew to loving their gameplay, a couple semifinals in there, quarterfinals as well. I don't think they're any slouches. I'm with you. I really do think this is going to be a very competitive match number 2.
We had a couple of roster changes also in Latin America, and these teams have been affected by it, Kenny.
Yeah, absolutely. An insane roster mania in the offseason here for the region. Pretty crazy stuff. And last second as well, not only was it a surprise to see teammates like MOHTEP and Pekka go away from each other, after 3 years they're separating, but in a bizarre way. On January 7th, SKC announced that they would be taking world finalists from last season, MOHTEP, RHC, and Pekka. This was only roughly a month ago. And time goes on. Scrim results don't go the way they're looking for. In just 3 days before monthly qualifiers, they shift things up again. It was really interesting to see MOHTEP's perspective on this. MOHTEP, somebody that wanted to kind of make a name for himself, prove that he could lead a team, especially maybe a smaller organization like Eternal Esports that isn't as large as somebody like Loud, to go back to the top. Both parties definitely wanted top spots in this region. SKC, somebody who were at the top last year, 3 monthly finals wins, and it's really crazy to see them make a kind of change like that so quickly before the season. It just adds to the drama, and we'll have to see who ends up winning the quote-unquote trade, because that's essentially what it was.
Yeah, it's really interesting because then in the region you have Loud, right, which is the king of the region, and then last year you had a few teams fighting each other, and now they merge force to try to fight them, right? First was the addition of RHZ to Pekka and MOHTEP. That didn't work out, so they decided to move MOHTEP and bring the other big rookie from last year, which is Christian. So I think that's a good point, and now the leftover for me are Jubileo, MOHTEP. So I think we're gonna go see a really insane match.
It's going to be insane, and most of us are saying Olympus Squad is going to take it. However, it is one of the 2025 South American rivalries that continues here this year as well. Basically a redux of the Alpha 7 esports team versus Casa Brawl. They faced each other about 10 times last year. Most of the time, the Alpha 7 team with Brawl came out on top. Kenny, can they finally break this curse now?
I'm not sure. I mean, it's going to be a little awkward, right? Am I the only one? MOHTEP and Jubileo on a team last year together, and then it's like, hey, buddy, we're going to bring in Doritos for your spot, and then the next year it's like, hey, do you care if we team up? I mean, there's got to be at least a little bit of that. I'm sure they're going to be working through that in the early season. Clearly, they're cool with each other, or else they don't make that roster happen. But obviously, these two teams have fought a ton, like you said. This is a very personal one. I think Olympus Squad have a lot to prove just to show that they're not a tier 2 quote-unquote team in this region, that they want to be in the same conversation of something like a Loud and an SKC. And MOHTEP, like I mentioned, even in his tweet when he was departing for the new team, it seemed very personal to him. It seemed like a personal goal that he wanted to be taken seriously as a top dog in this region. And that's something that I can respect.
He even mentioned that he was maybe overshadowed a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Olimpo was 19 points, 17 points away of LCQ, right? And I think they really want to prove it themselves. Last year when they were completely rookies, I think. So now they have the experience, they have done so many attempts already. I think this could be their year.
So they now have the chance to show us where it's at. Heading out into our first map, it's Super Beach. And as we're heading into draft, I want to throw to our beloved Pedro over here. Tell us more about this map. We already saw Willow pick before. Why is she so good here?
I think Willow can give you, this is a really good early pick because give you all the a lot of control in the map. Also, it's a thrower that always you are always afraid. What should I pick if they go a thrower or not, right? And Willow is already a thrower that can defend himself pretty good and give you already from the first pick already that goal possibilities.
So B coming in as a mid, which is super traditional here. And I think they're going to pair this specifically with Stu because they want that wall break. If you're going to face a Willow, like you mentioned, one of the ways that you kind of have to deal with it is by tearing everything down. Otherwise, Willow's just going to have her way. A popular brawler like Spike you see in that fan stage doesn't typically do well into throwers. So having B, if you're going to run that risk, you better have wall breaker outside it.
I do like the Stu idea here. Grip could have been another one to open up the map, but Stu just a tad bit better as he can also go aggressively. We already have seen though, if you have two one-shot brawler against you, you could come in with a Charlie here. Was the solution in the previous match to have something against those single hit brawlers, those little spawners? Mina's going to be the pick first. Super aggressive and then also Frank.
I mean, the Frank I think was a must pick because you can see that with B and Stu, the Frank would be an insane last pick, right? And it's better. And sadly, we don't have too many counters for Frank these days, so it's better to pick it and you decide if you want to open or not. But yeah, it was must. And Mina is a really good flex brawler, can be mid against B, dodge and up it with the shield, put insane pressure. And Kenji's last pick is really interesting because now you have something to go for the Willow. And you feed a lot against the other two.
With an aggressive play now on both sides. The playmaker Kenji versus Mina. Stu on the one hand to open up the map. Willow's gonna struggle quite a bit there. But with Frank on her side, she shouldn't be struggling too much as he can protect her pretty much from the Kenji. I feel pretty balanced draft here overall. Kenny, if you had to choose one, which one would it be?
I'm going to go with left-hand side, I think, to win this one. I feel good. I feel like the Frank was almost forced. I like that there's two powerful brawlers on that right-hand end, but on the left-hand side, just a great strategy overall. Rattle Tide to kick things off for Olympus Squad, and Mina already backed away. Brawl approaching on that top left-hand side, ball dished away, and Coway nowhere to walk. Brawl with a nice flank here. Jubileo has to go closer and closer to that net. A desperate windmill just to try and keep him up, but the HP too high. An interception, though, a little misplaced ball will cost him.
I think we're gonna expect to have an insane amount of kills and fights in this game, right? We're gonna see so many super pop-up and hypercharge even. They have insane hypercharge, all of them, and yeah, it's more about what value they get from the abilities. Kenji will have 2 or 3 hypercharge every game, I guess, and once the map is open, he will pop off. So it's about if Eternal can score early goals, because later is the worst for them.
Yeah, especially now that we're about 40 seconds into this. MOHTEP finally getting a super down. Brawl being mind controlled. Coway, though, hypercharged super just lets loose on the middle of the map as MOHTEP dribbles. Gonna debate. Jubileo playing it patience. Knows that as a lone brawler, especially with a respawning Brawl, that would not be smart to approach the net.
And now the walls are starting to open. As I said, yeah, the wheel is gonna start to suffer, but the teammates need to push a lot of pressure so he can get that invisible walls, right, to make something. If not, he's gonna suffer a lot.
Dish forward, and now Brawl wide open. Green grass ahead of him. It'll be a Limpo squad knocking in the first goal. Plenty of hypercharges available though for Eternal. They're certainly not out of it yet, but a hypercharge for Brawl. He smells blood in the water. MOHTEP in trouble. Backed away. Brawl strikes, and now on the other end as well. Be it there to walk alongside them, and a triple Brawl on the map. We're just going to teleprompter it, folks. I have no idea who's who, but 3 straight brawlers named that. Just know they're all Limpo players.
Yeah, I mean it's a really hard game for Willow on late, so they need to really make some pressure with the Frank at the start so they can score some early goals. Also, it's really hard, right, because you have to do that break right away. So, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to call them their brawler names because there are 3 Brawls on the map, so they're playing mind games with the casters as well. If I don't know what they're doing, I mean, what are they going to do on the other side to predict it? Kenji up in the air, and now a super going down for Coway strikes. Ooh, look at the rapid fire coming out of Frank. MOHTEP.
It's a good chance now. Now Eternal need to go super safe. They cannot miss the pressure. Now they need to rush anything. They need to just to hold a bit to find the abilities and the right opportunities to go, and they cannot miss this chance.
There's the patience they were talking about. Just gonna drop this windmill gadget, try and find an opportunity. Oh, look at the slide through there. Great mechanic. That was not an easy knockdown. Definitely pays off for Eternal. The patience that you talk about really paid off.
Yeah, and to be honest, I would just do the escape move, put it on the corner, all the whole game. I mean, because it's what it is, right? Try not to feed the Stu as much as possible. I think the Stu have a super right now. Obviously, it's really hard to feed not feed with the Frank. But yeah, I mean, that's what it is to do.
You've got 15,000 health points. It's going to be hard for a lone Stu to try and stop it. They don't necessarily pocket the ball like you asked for, but they just saw an opportunity and took it. Better to just go ahead and win the game outright. I was confident somewhat in that draft on the left-hand side. Again, the Eternal Brawlers are great. But like you mentioned, it felt like the Frank was almost a choice out of, we have to pick this because if we let it slide, the other team is going to absolutely destroy us. So all things considered, the fact that this is 1-1, I think goes to show the quality of players Eternal are.
I think the Barbados Olimpo, I mean, all Barbados players need to freeze a bit on the wheel, right? Just putting the pressure, yes, like they are doing. Stu is basically freezing while Kenji do his thing, and try to break as soon before they got all the pressure. That happened in the second game, right?
Yeah, B for a long time, of course, going to be anti-tank, but Frank just with so many health points, and especially with the transition to this new kind of super where he gets a shield, it is impossible. There's no amount of shots that are enough to kill this guy. He's going to pop a hype charge. That had to be a mistake. I don't see a reason why you would do that. That is a blunder for sure. Wasted utility, and now Kenji's going to be close to dying as well. So in a 1v1 interaction, I think Olimpo squad certainly enjoying that one. They love seeing that purple button is gone.
Yeah, it's interesting that to see at this level this kind of mistakes because are really rare, right? But also the other team will know how to punish you if you make this mistake, right? You are Frank, you have one of the best hypercharge, you miss it, now you are gonna regret it.
Numbers for Eternal. Stu skating up the map, trying to build space for his teammates as the big steam goes down. Windmill to protect them. This is one of the mechanisms that Mina relies on to succeed. Once it's burned, though, just going to be a lot easier for Olimpo squad to move up this map. Kenji making a great job on that top right-hand side, too. Now they're going to have plenty of space.
Yeah, I think we have seen the first game super chaotic, where it's really good for the blue team. And the second game super slow, which is really good for Eternal. And now we are seeing kind of mix of these two game styles, because one of them is better for the other team, right? So it's really interesting to see which game style is going to win.
All things considered, good on Eternal for not letting that one in easy. Frank with a dish away, and it forces the entire blue side to march backward. Now a Hydra charge. Coway going to be letting loose. No connections there from the hammer hit. And MOHTEP, of course, the squishiest brawler on his team, can't just march it alone. Stu will fall, trying to time that shot perfectly. He lining it up, and Kenji just has to be able to get some kills here. Otherwise, it's going to be Eternal rushing down the map.
That's pretty much what I said, right? So many hypercharge. We saw Frank missing a full hypercharge, and 1 minute later he used another one, and he probably close to the third one. So yeah, it's super chaotic, but that's a good news for Olimpo, to be honest.
In overtime, who do you think takes this if it goes to it?
Let's see, Mina, they need to push now before the map walls open. Then Willow will have hyper, but on open he's gonna suffer a lot. So they need to do the move right now.
Oh, insane pass right there, and now the net's open. A perfectly timed hypercharge super. Hurricane of Violence will knock him in the air, and Eternal can knock one down. You called it, Coach. Mina had to make a play, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, he has this insane ability, right? But Willow didn't even push the pink button. The purple button, he didn't make it. But yeah, he relied on his teammate. He was probably keep it for the defense. But he didn't need it.
It really didn't look like they could make it in that first game. Olimpo squad takes the game looking very, very strong, but now we see some great moments once more from the Mina. As you said, she needed to make some plays. Didn't even get the most kills on her end. 7 kills on Kawe. Now we also finally know who's who on the left-hand side. Roster Brawl was on Stu, indeed. Ice Crew on Kenji with a whopping 11 kills. So even though they opened up the map quite a bit, that Kenji still worked out perfectly.
The Brawl PR department is thriving right now. 3 players and all of that action.
So
all of them look great. I mean, there's no way that you can do wrong. They're playing the devious work by them, by the way. But nonetheless, Eternal's still finding a way to win that set. I mean, all things considered after the draft, maybe that was just a wrong read of my situation. But I was pretty convinced with the Frank being a little bit of a forced pick. I thought maybe they'd get away with one there. Instead, though it's a knockdown goal. Mina's just a powerful brawler. That win rate doesn't lie.
I think it's this Star Wars is a good proof that killing or KD is not everything, right? It's important to know what's game mode are you playing, that to go for objective. In case of Hudson, get the percentage right. In case just get the goals. We saw the Kenji with insane amount of kills, B insane amount of damage, but something like that's not enough.
Playing for the objective, they also have to do that in that next one, and luckily for them, this is actually about kills. We're heading over to Knockout now. Golden Gulch is the next map, and if they get the most kills here, the quickest, they will also win the map. Really liked what we've seen so far from both of those rosters, both in the terms of draft and gameplay. Now in Golden Gulch, we've seen Rico pop up. Do you happen to know if any of those two teams have a very, very good Rico amongst their lines?
I can expect Olimpo to play some Rico, not the main, but maybe we can expect them to have more block opening the map and snipers, but we can see some Rico.
I think it's certainly a possibility. In EMEA, Pedro, it really felt like this was one of the few maps that teams relied on this being a more long-range open affair. We're not necessarily just running tanks and assassins down the map. Is that something that you resonate with? Do you agree with that?
I will always vouch for the slow playstyle by the snipers, maybe break. I like the Rico, but because you can play anything later, right? You can go more aggro with the Brock, breaking aggressive, or we just hold the gadgets. I mean, I'm that playstyle.
Super Beach, by the way, was the casting debut of Pedro, so I feel like you definitely have a future here if you ever want to stop coaching, switch over to the better job, obviously, getting casting.
I always have a good time with it. Seen some common brawlers that we saw in the previous match as well on this map. So Brock, once again, first overall pick. I think that's mostly due to wall control, also having some range. I mean, obviously, correct me if I'm wrong, but I just think RT is a great flex brawler. Byron kind of in a similar suit of empowering teammates with the heals, but also the poison damage can be really pesky. Has a gadget that can fan a shot into grass, so just vision also strong there too.
Yeah, I think the RT is, how you said, more flex, right? You are ready already against tanks. And Byron, I think, there is very sniper, so I expect to have some strategy with the last pick. You can have some aggro to heal, because if you go on a sniper, you just go something like Piper or Bell, right?
Sure.
Or more safe.
Just hard commit.
But so I can expect something interesting.
And there comes the Rico that we mentioned before. Once again, Rico and Brock. We've seen this composition before. Spy coming in at last pick. Now, a buffy brawler that you can virtually play on every map at the moment. Now, last pick for the red roster here, I kind of would assume they want to go with a tank last pick here, as they already have the Byron. Otherwise, yeah, I would have loved to see a tick maybe left open here with Ben out before in this map.
I think the strategy is to go for a Frank. Let's see what they pick already the Rico and the Spike, so they expect it, so they went for the ground.
Same category, right? I mean,
No, I mean, I'm pretty sure they went. I mean, they went because Olimpo was ready for it, right? No one would pick a Spike if you don't expect a hard tank. So maybe Eternal didn't expect so much anti-tank.
I do like to grow into Spike, specifically a squishy brawler. We do have someone that can open up the map there on the left-hand side. So with that Brock, as long as they open up the map, they should do just fine into that thrower. Set number 2 now for Olimpo squad versus Eternal.
great start for Eternal. Coming out of the lower bracket, have some players of history in this region. MOHTEP trying to isolate himself as one of the best to do it. They're going to be spacing the floor early. The Grom pick, not something I expected. Into a matchup like Spike, I like it, but out of all throwers, why this one?
I think if you have a lot of vision at the start, it's really safe in these kind of maps. There is other throwers like Sprout or Tick that are really good against third-time brawlers, but can have a lot of can have less counter attack, right? So if you know you have the last pick, you can pick the thrower that you feel more.
Well, a unique draft out of Eternal. My diamond randoms are thrilling right now, knowing that Grom is getting played at a professional level, because they sure do love to pick it at my level.
I mean, we have seen already the Rico in the previous game. The Rico is really good getting the right that originally is the enemy zone, right? This map is kind of diagonal, so the right is for the enemy and you have the left. And when you cannot fight the Rico, just go to the other lane, right?
Eternal being overwhelmed right now. Not a lot of health points to go around. They have a healing super if they elect to use it, but I think it would be a mistake. They don't want to overdo it for Bao hopping in. Not enough for a takedown by Byron. They exhaust a little utility in that too. And going into this next round now, hypercharged super villain. The other teammate with a super too. It feels like Olympus Squad have an advantage in the next one as well.
Yeah, I think they need to fight for the left. They have the Grom vision. They need to. They have struggling so much. They're struggling so much with the Rico. Just forget about the Rico. Go left, get the left, and fight side to side. When you fight side to side, then the throwers pop off a bit. So that's the place that they need to do for.
Yeah, getting all the numbers from the left-hand side would also put them in a 3v2, but it's going to be Brock. Foot on the gas pedal. Ooh, and a hypercharge as well. Oh, he was feeling nasty. Tried to go for two, not enough. Overdoing it a little bit. Rico on the right-hand side, not making any contact either. Eternal in trouble. Not quite out of it yet, but MOHTEP's going to have to play pretty darn perfectly. Now a purple button being popped for Spike. This is where things get deadly. It is so difficult. There's so much damage going down from Spike in his current layout to grab kills. Overall, Olympus Squad just felt like the safer, better team in that opening game.
I mean, we saw some really good skill moves from both teams, right? That Brock popping the purple button to rush the ground was really good. He really know the speed that he get and he really get used to it. And the movement from MOHTEP on there was insane. Was not enough to dodge 3 guys, but
Yeah.
it was really good.
So we'll see if they change things up here. It looks like Eternal are sending Brawl a little bit of backup. RT, not necessarily hiding himself, but is concealed in that grass a little bit. Going to be taking out fanning shots, dealing with the needle grenades coming out of Spike. Brock in the middle of the map. Rico's still stagnant on that right-hand side, dealing with long-range Byron. I think this time they're going to be taking a much slower approach. Not really an opportunity to move up for either end.
I mean, that's a bit better, right, for Eternal. Now they freeze a bit every lane, they cannot get pushed, but I don't know how much can they hold. Right? We see the Byron not paying too much attention to the Rico, just trying to freeze. But I don't know if they are going to maintain it for late game.
Now migrating to that right-hand side. Rom going to be shifting alongside Byron, who's trying to play the middle of the map. Ready to go with the super if necessary. Now Vision going down from the tower that Grom drops. Rico with the bounce shot. Typically doesn't love being against other throwers. Has a super though. He's flashing that button. Will pop it. Ooh, and a complete whip there. Now it's going to be a 3v3 with the Fog. Eternal finally have legs here. Few shots going down. Grom just body blocking for his entire team. Trying to charge him. Super will get a kill, but Byron, support brawler, left all alone. No chance in that interaction.
Yeah, we can see the sniper that are really suffering in long range, right? That's all about the vision, right? If you have the push, you have the vision, you cannot really come close to a spike that can sneak on you. Kind of the same for Rico. Then Brock zoning everywhere. It seems like in this kind of long map, the sniper should pop up, but they are suffering so much.
So the unique picker Grom so far not paying off too much.
Arroba
Few supers here and
bombardeiro
there, but even a brawler
estratégico
like
C
Spike,
cedilha,
able to maintain.
C
This time an
cedilha,
opportunity
C
though for Motep on the
cedilha,
bottom right-hand
C
side, super going down,
cedilha,
but also
C
wasted as well.
cedilha,
Thankfully for
C
Eternal, they do
cedilha,
manage to
C
grab a kill out of it.
cedilha.
Yeah, I mean, they got the kill, but it's insane how to see how in this kind of map, this open map, long map, the Spike have already a sniper. That's really good for him. It's really rare to see this kind of brawlers that are supposed to be to contain some tanks, right? They are winning thrower, they are winning snipers, and that's all on him.
Yeah, not a traditional matchup that they're going to enjoy. And at this point, it's just Brock sitting still, doing his best to charge up super and get whatever he can muster, but ultimately going to fall. So a couple supers walking into this next round for Eternal. Finally, a little life for them. Spike's definitely been a player to watch, though. Now he's going to be sneaking down the skinny side of this left-hand lane. Brock once again taking the middle. The issue is, though, you can't hide anywhere because that Grom gadget reveals you immediately.
Yeah, but it's really easy to take it off, right? So, yeah, that scat don't stay too long. And somehow the Grom needs to push on the lane, right? The Grom is the win condition, kinda, the condition to get a lane for free, and he's not working at all.
Wild to think in our current meta of Franks and Mortises that something like a Grom could be a win condition. A Rico super off screen to the bottom right-hand side. Hypercharge goes down. MOHTEP being preserved by Byron Seals, holding on for dear life, and now a Spike hypercharge. Gonna be clustering them in a corner. Rico still laying down heavy fire, a light plant to protect the Brock. Byron doing his best just to hold firm. Somehow Eternal survive all day.
Yeah, basically the game is not over because of Jubileo. Healing, Jubileo holding and dodging on the mid by his own completely. And I think that was because him and, I'm going to say they were going to win this one, but Spike dodged really good the Grom this time. And for me, this is solved.
Yeah, at this point in the 2v2, close call. Limbo Squad holding on, but Spike survival just too much. And now they'll match things up here. That was really impressive to watch. I thought the Grom was creative. Did you really feel like it came through the way they thought it would? Because I feel like at times, you know, mechanics aside, I just didn't see them align up in the start like I think you mentioned. Like, I feel like I would have rather seen them be more aggressive and take a more progressive approach.
Yeah, I think in the paper, Grom should always win a spike, right?
Yeah.
But this map is a bit special. This map is the vision and the pressure is everything. And the new spike is insane. You can win kind of every match, any matchup, and yeah, it works.
Spike definitely a brawler that sticks out to me as one of the most banned, most picked, and the highest win rate of brawlers. Definitely a good pickup here from the Cyber Olympus squad. I also am a bit surprised that they didn't even open up the map too badly. The Grom still had a lot of walls to stand behind, yet Olympus squad is still won.
Some great sidestepping. Now we know it is Ice Crow. I was going to call him Bow number 1, but I just have no idea in the middle of the game who they're running to. Their in-game names. Ice Crow going to be the man on that spike. 4 kills apiece, so even distribution there. But I just felt like a lot of the times we were calling out the mechanics of them, right? The sidestepping, the dodging of Grom supers. And again, throwers traditionally do well into Spike because Spike relies on open space. Throwers, if they're hiding behind a wall, well, it's hard for Spike or sharpshooters in general to land those shots. So the fact that he was able to get the better of Coway, I think goes to show how well the side he played.
Yeah, of course. I mean, always you pick the Brock to be safe against throwers, but if you have a teammate that, I don't know if tell you or you feel like, no, I'm chill, I have a counter, I'm going to win it, why do it, right? Why to open, why to waste those gadgets?
Yeah, very true. Brock didn't have to open the map, but they still won the match into a thrower. Very well played from them. Now, after getting as many kills as possible, the objective of that mode, we're heading over to Hot Zone. A super interesting one here. We're on Ring of Fire once again. We have seen this map already before, Kenny. Andy Ellie had an absolute pop-off moment from the side of Loud. Do you think she's going to be banned out now?
I think it's very possible. I think Ali is somebody that you have to consider. Somebody like Imp. Oh, I was going to say, if Imp escapes, you have to consider it. One strategy we saw in EMEA last week with Reply Totem was running to Gray